split this up. Larry's going to make some remarks at lunch at the rec center, the brick building over in the park to my left, thanking our great, good friends at RAGS for the amazing job they've been doing for more than 20 years and they've done with this renovation. And Larry's going to thank Christine Rowley, Rich Weinert, the older generation that started, that's okay, the older generation that started with us and moved the cabin, George Fialco and Al Collins and others who are here, and Norm Gibson, who's been here the whole time. But I'll start now, Christine, and talk a little bit about our family history. I was named for my great-great-grandfather, John Donley, who built this humble home by hand with two of his brothers, who came here as a refuge from the Irish potato famine. And this has been kind of the mothership for our family ever since. It's been, that's okay, just leave it, Brendan. It's been a sanctuary, and even in the tough times of the Depression, literally a source of survival, a place of survival for our family. So it has a special place in our hearts. And there are three things I'd like to do as we gather here today. One is to honor the leaders of our family and two of my favorite people in the whole world, my uncle Larry Donley and my uncle Mike Donley. That's number one. Number two, I want to just briefly recap and recall and reflect on, there were three very important prior restorations of the cabin. In 1931, done by my grandfather Hugh Donley. In 1968, done by Larry with help from some friends and neighbors here, the Schweiger cousins, Elmer and Dave, and their nephew Pat and his daughter Carolyn did the renovation, the structural renovation of this roof and rafters here in the last month or two. And they couldn't be here today because of a family funeral. So we're missing them. And then the third historic renovation was in 1997 after the fire when the cabin was moved here. So, and then we'll finish by celebrating with a ribbon cutting this new renovation and great work that I believe will have this mothership last another 150 years. So, if I've done the numbers right, when the great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren of these little kids scampering around are assembling for their reunion in the year 2169, the mothership will still be standing proudly here because of this great structural work rebuilding the roof. Okay, so how do I know about these historical renovations? Well, I got the book.
Yay, Brendan!
My son Brendan went back and got old interviews, old documents, interviewed Larry, Mike, Mark Donley, and Dan, who had worked with their dad Joe in the 70s on the cabin, interviewed everybody, and wrote this wonderful book. So we now have two great family heirlooms. We don't have any other family heirlooms in our family because God knows there was no money back in the old days. But we have this cabin and we have this book now that Brendan wrote as a keepsake. And in this book it tells the story of the previous renovations. The first one in 1931 was done by my grandfather Hugh Donley, and he had actually moved to Detroit when he married Frances Gavin, who was born in Columbus Township in 1920, and they prospered in Detroit when it was booming in the 20s. They had 5 young children, all boys, in 8 years between 1921 and 1929, and then everything started falling apart on October 27th, 1929. That was the day that Hugh's sister Mary, who was a 36-year-old school teacher beloved by her students and friends and family in Detroit, died of cancer. The next day was Black Monday, the biggest stock market crash ever that started the Great Depression. A few weeks later, they had a baby boy. Hugh and Frances had a baby boy, Thomas. 4 months later, Thomas got pneumonia and died on Easter Sunday, 1930. This is all happening in the space of a couple months to Hugh and Frances. Then, a few months after that, Hugh's mother, the matriarch of the family, who had raised them as a single mother because her husband was killed by a horse, Kate Sullivan Donley, who was the great aunt of Catherine and Marie and Patricia Champagne, who are here with us today. And does everyone know Catherine and Marie and Pat? Mm-hmm. Their great aunt and Mike and Larry's grandmother, Kate Sullivan Donley died. And it wouldn't be long before Hugh Donley lost his job as the purchasing agent for a motor valve manufacturer in Detroit as the Depression hit. So what did he do? He came back to the mothership, and by his own hand, he rebuilt it. It had been used for some handyman lived in it. It had been used as a sheep pen. And here's a story. It's on. It's in Brennan's book from the August 4th, 1931 Port Huron Daily Leader, and it described.
Monitor leader.
The reporter came out and he found Hugh working here and wrote, "Each night sees him here, garbed in overalls and perspiring with honest labor. The cabin logs touching the ground were slightly rotted. Those higher are perfect. He raised the cabin about 4 feet, inserted new oak logs, and encased the foundation in good cement. This will last indefinitely, all done as a tribute to his grandfather John, who had come during the potato famine, and as a place of refuge for his family." So it did almost last indefinitely. At least it lasted till about 1968, when the old place was falling down, and that's when our hero Larry enters the story and saves the place. And I'm going to come back to that at the end, because we have a little presentation at the end I'm holding. So hold a little dramatic pause as we're going to come back to Larry's heroism in 1968 saving the place. The third renovation that saved it was with the assistance of our great good friends at Rags. In 1996, out on 29 Mile Road, Lindsay Road, there was an arson fire, and this house came very close to burning. I just met Dale Quick here, who has a perfect, where's Dale? Dale was one of the firefighters who was indeed quick and saved the place. But there was a lot of damage, and the damage to the cross beams and the rafters and the loft was never really fully repaired until it was repaired and replaced by Pat Schweiger and the team under Rich Weiner's direction and with guidance from Larry and Mike this spring. It was futile to leave the cabin there, and this is where we met. Where's George Fialco? And Al Collins is here, and Rags, and they agreed to take it, put it here in the historic park, and moved it in 1997. So, on that move, and for those of you who have a copy of, I know many of you have a copy of Brendan's book. It's in the Library of Congress. We sent it to the Library of Congress as well as to various Michigan libraries and historical societies. On page 120, if you don't have a copy of the book, it's not for sale, but for a healthy donation to the log cabin fund of the Rags donation, I've got a box of ones I'll slip to you in exchange for a nice donation. On page 125, Brendan has links, a YouTube link, Donley X 1848X. You can type into YouTube, but he's got the links here. And one of those links is a videotape that Mike shot on August 27th, 1997, the day the log cabin was jacked up, moved down 29 Mile Road, driven up Gratiot. A couple cars drove into a ditch and almost had an accident when they saw the thing. It was so astonishing. And I think there was even a fender bender when they came back to move the outhouse, and people were astonished to see this outhouse driving down Gratiot. And Mike shot a video that he narrated. And at the reunion tonight, we're going to play a little excerpt from it for the Donley family, but it's wonderful. It's full of emotion. Mike refers to the cabin by the feminine pronoun her or she throughout. He says they're setting down just as she sat, facing south out on 29 Mile Road. She's doing very well, almost like a beloved ship. And just the emotion and the genuineness from Mike on this video is great. So I encourage you to look up the link there. Now, we want to have a little token of appreciation for Mike, who is the heart and soul of our family. Always has great warmth for all his nieces, nephews, grandchildren, sisters, brothers-in-law, everybody. Always has a smile on his face. He's the one who taught us all how to play euchre. We have that. He's just a wonderful person and has always been great in our family. And had a very, this memento we're going to have in a minute has a little bit to do with his career. He had a very long, distinguished career at J.L. Hudson's department store. And I remember that well because when I was a little kid, every Thanksgiving, my dad made me sit in front of TV out in Pennsylvania and watch the national broadcast. He said, "You look for Uncle Mike. He's a big deal at J.L. Hudson department store, and you spot him in the parade." Now we've got this like 21-inch black and white TV. Mike was always, it was an honor to be, if you ever went to the J.L. Hudson parade, they used to have employees in clown costumes at the front. It was kind of an honor to be one of the clowns. And Mike was in the clown costume. Now, how was I supposed to spot my Uncle Mike in a clown costume? But yet I was made to sit there year after year. So I know he was very, we have, I set up the posters so well they all fell over, but we have a poster of an ad with Mike when he was at J.L. Hudson. We also have a poster of Larry, and we'll take these over inside at the rec center so you can see them. And we have some historical posters over there too. And there's some pictures of Larry and Mike on all the posters that fell down, but whatever. We can hold those up. Brendan's going to read a short letter that Larry wrote about Mike, and I'm going to get out while I get, come on up here on the steps, Brendan, and I'm going to get out the memento to honor Mike.
Okay, so this was a letter Larry wrote to me about 2 years ago, wanting to make sure he put all his thoughts down about what Mike's meant to his family, and he wrote it to me in the mail, and I'll read it for you guys now.
Louder, Brad.
Louder? Okay, so this is from Larry to me, and to everybody. Mike graduated from high school at St. Mary's in New Baltimore. St. Mary's was a typical small-town Catholic school taught by Catholic nuns. With Ed's encouragement, Mike went on to New York for a high-intensity learning program. Mike had a good experience there, and it got him out of a small-town environment. From there, Mike enrolled at vocational school in Pittsburgh. He attended this program and lived with Joe and TC, who were working in Pittsburgh at the time. From there, Mike returned to Detroit and went to work for J.L. Hudson, the largest department store in Michigan. From that point on, Mike's talent was recognized and he was promoted from appliance maintenance to sales. He then was able to join Hudson's furniture sales department. Mike found his calling and Hudson recognized his talent. Along the way, Mike met Karen Walden, who was a school teacher, and they married. They went on to have 3 lovely daughters, Anne, Patty, and Brianna. All 3 of them graduated from Michigan colleges. Mike's business success continued to grow, and he became the senior leading salesperson in the Hudson organization. For all his accomplishments, Mike is the real hero in our family.
Mike's Ann and Patty and all of Mike's family to come up, and we have for all the family a Mike Donley bobblehead. in the J.L. Hudson shirt. And we have ones for all the family. We'll hand out at lunch, but here's so you can be fiddling with them. And here's ones for the family, and if you can pass those around. So that's our great love and admiration for Mike. We express it through a bobblehead. Heartfelt.
Bravo!
Bobble.
Okay, now before we come back to Larry in 1968. I have some gifts for Rags, and I'd like Christine and Rich Weiner to come up. So I don't know how you found him, Larry, but he found the stories in the book. It's fascinating. To rebuild, take down all the boards, they took it down to the base, built a new foundation, and rebuilt it. And it was this close to being gone. So what a hero Larry was, and everybody who worked with him to save this cabin and preserve it for us. And he had support from his family. He had support from Joe and Ed, Mary Ann and Mike and Huey, and from Bernie, but it was mostly Larry. So, Larry, thank you. We have a new unveiling here under the green ribbon, and I'd like Kathy to come by and pull off the ribbon for the unveiling. And Larry to come on over as well. And Pat and Lori and Megan and Anya and Roman, come on up as well. Kathy, go ahead. And I guess I'll read it.
It should just pull right up.
We have
straight.
Martha, do you have the scissors?
It will just pull right up.
Oh, pull it up.
Wow, look at that.
Okay, this plaque says, first of all, for those standing far away, there's a picture of a very handsome young man with almost a full head of hair. It is Larry. And it says, Larry Donley is the great-grandson of John Donley, who built this cabin in the 1850s with the help of his two Irish immigrant brothers. Larry and his siblings, Ed, Frank, Hugh, Joe, Mary Ann, and Mike, were raised in this cabin during the Depression. By the late 1960s, the cabin was nearly in ruins. With the support of his siblings, Larry led a team of local craftsmen who restored the cabin so it would last into posterity. So, Larry, this is our thanks to you for a great job.
I don't deserve all this. Yes, you do. There was a lot of people involved in this endeavor. This is a great family, one of the great families that came to America with millions of others who built this country. We're just helping it along. This was a great building, and as things turned out, the best decision, and I've told you this before, that we ever made was to give it to the Historical Society of Richmond, who have cared for it, loved it, and will do for this community, and particularly this community, to remember the history of this family and this town, which is so important to us. Richmond is my hometown, and I'm proud to be back here with all of my family. Thank you. Thank you again.
So we're going to wrap up here with a ribbon cutting. If Mark and Dan and Jim and Kate, if you have the ribbon and could hold it, and Anya and Martha are going to cut the ribbon.
I have another helper.
Oh, and Adri. Excellent. And then when the ribbon cutting's done, we're going to get the Donley family all switched in for a big family photo. Oh, Adri's, you want to hold the ribbon lower, it's blocking Adri's face. Okay, so lunch is going to be in the rec center starting in 5 minutes. We'll mill over there. If all the Donley family members could stay here, and John, where's John Marion, our photographer? John's going to direct us who should sit where and where we should move the chairs. I think, John, you want us to turn these chairs around maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring them up over here.
So if someone could help us grab the chairs and put them on the sidewalk.
There's a lens about this big around. If there's someone's head, you can't see the lens, I can't see your face. That's basically what it comes down to. I'm gonna do my best to bring that back row up. You need to go back in the two in front of you. Behind you need to go forward. Okay? So if someone is taller in front of you, tap them on the shoulder and say, you're a little bit too, yeah. So if you're tall, go to the back. It all looks pretty nice. A little bit of problem back here with you three. If there's any way to, are you guys standing on the geranium bed thing already? You're already on something. Okay. So there's plenty of room on the grass up here.
Better go while the getting's good.
I'm gonna do 10 shots.
Kitty thing. If you're below this.